for Arfield. 1-0 Burnley. Scott Arfield. He's been threatening that recently. And all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. Here's Rory now. On the outside. He's
got it. Ashley Barnes with it. What a cross from Rory. And there was Ashley Barnes. And Burnley leading the derby.
Knocks it quickly, finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell, saved by the keeper.
Burnley won it to the end. That is magnificent. They deserve that.
On it by Paul Pantella, off for a hat-trick.
He's got it. Hat-trick for Nathan Teller. Oh, he's on fire at the minute. 3-0 Burnley. It's Nathan Teller's day.
Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby. Here's Benson. Can he go on the outside? Comes inside. Have a shot.
Oh, the goal. Manuel Benson once more. That is top class.
Burnley have done it. Fantastic. Clarets deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello everybody, welcome along to the latest episode of the Turfcast podcast. Full-time show with me, Joe Redmond, after Burnley's dismal defeat at Goodison Park at the weekend. A game that probably was the final nail in the coffin, but I'm sure we'll get into that. As you can see, I am joined by Liam, otherwise known as Vizza, and Neil has got his job back. He's risen from the dead just like Jesus did over Easter. How are we doing, boys?
Good, mate. Yeah, good. Good to be back. Just been a busy few weeks. New job, new baby and all that.
Yeah, fair enough. And Liam, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, doing well. I'm looking forward to this evening, really. Been looking forward to it.
You did say in the WhatsApp group that you will be happy today. And I didn't ask the question as to why, because I thought I'll ask him on air. Why are you happy today?
I've got over the entire Premier League.
The impending doom.
Potential relegation. And I'm just buzzing for some derby days next year, really. I'm looking forward to just winning some games and hopefully have a good little top six charge and maybe be looking forward to some automatics, maybe. I want to win some games, mate. Honestly, I'm bored of it now.
You've been watching videos from Middlesbrough last year, haven't you? That's what it is. You've been watching all the videos and celebrations and it's got you back in the mood. Yeah.
I mean, just winning some games. And really, for me, the core key fundamental part is just no VAR. I can't stand it. I really can't. So I'm looking forward to it next year without it.
Yeah, just should be a laugh. But I do hope that...
refs, that's the only problem.
Yeah, there is, but that genuinely does, in my opinion, even itself out over the course of the season because there's no bias in that league, whereas in this league there is, and it doesn't even itself out over the course of the season because we're not a top six side. And to be fair, we got a few decisions to go our way last year in Championship. I think the goal that Connor Roberts scored, or was it Barnsley scored at Middlesbrough, was actually offside. So I'm looking forward to...
I think the worst one, do you remember that it was against Reading at home and that Tommins, I think, just got absolutely clattered in the box in like the 90th minute or something. And then we went on to score the winner. And that's such a stonewall pen. We got away with some things, but I think Roberts against Middlesbrough in that game at home, he also got sent off for a handball that came off the ball. That was a funny one. Yeah. So for me, it evens itself out.
Yep, I agree as well. Neil does have a baby with him. So if the camera disappears like that, then that is why he's on dad duty tonight. But with it being Monday night, we don't tend to get as many live viewers. But the beauty of having Monday night is we get the US Clarets in the chat as well. So it's good to see George A. Rodriguez. Hope you're well, mate. He says, hello, everybody. While you guys will, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, mate. It might be an American saying, you probably just misspelled something. But he does say, hello, guys, how are you? Coming to you live from the US while you're speaking about the terrible game we had. There will be near total eclipse where I'm located. Yeah, I did see that, actually, mate. So let me know how you got on. He says, towards the end of this show, fair enough. I've just seen something come through on my watch about it, so I thought it would now. So, yeah. I will allow you to leave the show for 5 minutes to see the solar eclipse, mate. But if you do, put a picture on Twitter and tag us in it, and we'll try and get it in the show. So we'll bring people live. So I've got nothing else to talk about, mate. I want happy stuff. and an Eclipse might be happier than talking about Everton. Liam Beach is in the chat. He says, bring on the bastards. Season's over, but Kompany in. That's pretty much just what Liam was saying, isn't it? I don't want to piss on your parades, though. I'm hoping Blackburn go down and there is no bastards next year, but I think they'll be right, if I'm honest with you. Liam also goes on to say, we've got some Deadwood to shift in the summer. J-Rod, Brownhill, Trafford. I think Trafford will stay. J-Rod and Brownhill potentially will leave. Sam Rant incoming, says Liam. We do apologise for the lack of Emerson. He is currently on holiday in Norway.
He's not on holiday, mate. He's Turfcast official Norway football scout. Yeah,
to be fair, we're going to keep that on the DL, but he is looking for up and coming talent in Norway, and take that whichever way you want to take it.
Haaland's on his way coming.
Basically. Twin Cities Clarets says, we have main engine start and we go for a Sam Rant in Team Minus. Again, apologies, mate. We do have good lads in the chat, though, myself included. So
can we just say about Sam, because obviously people watching in our group chat and they won't know, but he's actually been really calm about all this. And I don't know if it's because he's on holiday, but there has not been one rant, no capital letters, nothing.
We usually get a few every week, but it's probably is because he's on holiday. Probably is. Evening all, says Claret Al. Evening. Chase a Dream says, need to ask VK about his shambolic team selection and substitutes. Can't fault him last season and now don't understand him. I mean, Liam has got something which we will go into in a little bit. Just like a list of all Kompany's bizarre decisions this season. And it, as Liam said at the start of the show, it's a little bit longer than you wanted it to. But before we get into the lads' thoughts on the game and my thoughts on the game, I just want to remind everybody that we are sponsored. The Turfcast Podcast full-time show is officially sponsored by Wave Car Finance. Wave Car Finance are a local car finance company who specialise in getting you your dream car through their fantastic one-to-one personalised service. Their finance-first approach ensures that you can secure the very best finance in a deal tailored to suit you. And they can even settle any existing finance agreement and swap your current car into a new one. And to celebrate this brilliant new partnership between Wave Car Finance and Turfcast, if you mention Turfcast Podcast to them, they will give you a voucher worth up to £200 to spend in the Burnley FC club shop on completion of your finance deal. So why not pop down to their stunning showroom in Warley, or give them a call, or even just send them an email or message them on social media to start your new car adventure today. And don't forget to mention Turfcast, because you basically get £200 worth of Burnley FC merchandise for free when you do. Right then, boys, I'll start with you, Liam, because Neil was coughing at the time and may have to dash at any moment to sort out a young child. But your overall thoughts on Saturday, please, and not the ramifications itself, but the actual 90 minutes, the game itself. How do you feel Burnley played and things like that?
Well, okay, so it was of course, disastrous result for everyone involved. Completely. And one thing I've been seeing a lot online, which I get why, because people are a bit emotional, they're angry, and they should be a bit, because second half was really poor. The red card cost didn't help. Yeah. But I've been seeing a lot of people, kind of go at the players saying, there's no fight, there's no character, there's no desire. And I think that's a bit harsh, considering that, we've had I would say it doesn't take that much, but at least an increase in performances, an increase of fight in recent weeks. I didn't make up Chelsea away in my mind only 2 games ago, that we felt like we actually had some real connection with the players, and we said that on the pod at the time. And in terms of the game, the first half, I felt like was actually not a good half by any means, but I felt like we pretty much made Everton completely useless. They were poor in that first half completely, and we weren't exactly incredible, but I felt like we completely nullified whatever attack and threat that they had, and they were absolutely tragic. They couldn't even piece 2-3 passes together. Remember Ashley Young having a complete nightmare, and I think we had about 2-3 chances in that first half. Aston Young with a great little drag back and drop McNeil with a cross across the face of goal, and Taylor with a block shot. I think Fofana had a header from a near post as well. That could have gone anywhere. It was one of those kind of typical rough halves where you're just trying to keep it simple, keep it 0-0, stay in the game. And the kind of Burnley of old of falling apart kind of happened, where we just make a silly mistake at the back. And that's happened throughout the entire season. And it's happened in one of the worst moments, literally 15 seconds left on clock before half time. I don't get why Muric just didn't just belt it out. I don't get why he didn't. And it's just how our season's gone. Our entire season of how it's been, just how it's happened, was all concluded at 90 minutes. Had a decent little start, had some hope. We let ourselves down with ill discipline and with just raw rookie mistakes, and that's what's cost us at this level. And again, for the third time, we've been completely dashed.
Yeah, I think that is the problem, is that we don't know how to play against Daesh teams. But I do take your point, and I agree with it, that if we were the better side in the first half, without really creating too much, I think that, again, highlights the lack of quality that we have. We just don't have enough quality to turn this attacking threat and to turn this possession into clear-cut chances. You mentioned there a couple of half chances, and they were half chances, but we were the better side until that mistake. And then as soon as that mistake went in, I mean, I do remember thinking at half-time, because I went to Goodison on Saturday, I do remember thinking at half-time, thinking, right, if we play like we did in the first half, we stand a chance. Yes, we've done typical Burnley and messed up, but we stand a chance. And then we have to come out fighting in that second half, and that's the problem. We just didn't. We just didn't come out fighting. We did the same thing that we've done in so many second halves this season, and just fucked about with it and didn't do anything and didn't create anything. Now, Daesh has come out and since said, like, that was intentional. We made the game that way. I'm not so sure about that. I just thought that we just didn't have enough quality to turn this possession into chances. But yeah, first off, I do feel like we're a better side. And we will talk individually about the mistakes in a bit from Muric and from Dara with screenshots. I'm actually prepared this week, guys. Big shout out to Liam Beach, who's just become a new member. I will quickly get that out now before I ask Neil about his thoughts on the game. We always appreciate the members. And if you are looking at some of the comments on YouTube and you see the little badges next to the name, that's because they're members. So that's one of the benefits of becoming a member. And you do get early release of pre-game shows, because obviously they're not live, and other stuff, say like the Andy Cook interview, for example, that was released on early release. So big shout out to Liam Beach for becoming a member. I appreciate it, mate. I really do. Yeah, hopefully some more people can join as well. But thank you to Liam. Neil, your thoughts on the match, please.
Yeah, there's not much more I can add that's different to Liam's, but I think I don't think I ever thought we'd win. But what you were saying there about once the mistake happened, that was it. It's just been the story of the season. We've just got that soft underbelly, and I agreed. I said it in my match reaction thing, which I was so out of practice of because I haven't done one for that long. I've said all season that I can accept going down and losing games. I just wanted to see a bit of a fight, which we weren't at the time, and we have over the last few weeks. We really have. But the Burnley evolved, like you said, just came back there. That mistake happened, and heads drop, and you just sort of. I think it almost felt like it's a sort of acceptance that the players knew that they weren't going to get back into it, and it's just our season and all that sort of stuff. Muric, yeah, obviously we've been shouting for him to come in. He has got a mistake in him, and if it was Trafford, he'd be getting pelters. So Muric obviously deserves pelters for that. I know that Kompany tells them to play the way they play and to pass it out from the back, but surely they're intelligent enough to know to just boot it if someone's running at them.
Yeah.
That's down to the players. That's not
like Liam said. It's 15 seconds before half time in that situation. Yeah. You don't need to fanny about with it, then, mate. Just boot it.
Just boot it. Yeah, and so I know that there's a long list of reasons of things that Kompany's got wrong, but that to be fair is not on him. That's an individual mistake. That's a choice that Muric made. And rightly so, he does deserve penalties, because if Trafford did it, we'd be giving him penalties as well. But as I said again in my thing, it's his first mistake, so fair play. And yeah, O'Shea got caught out. He didn't know what to do. He panicked. Got himself sent off. I really think he's been one of the worst ones this season. There's been a slight improvement in him, but for me, now that he's out for 3 games, that might be a little bit of a blessing, to be fair.
Did you see the pod last week? There's a commenter that said that he's his nomination for Player of the Season.
Yeah.
No, mate, no.
Don't worry, we all rubbished it. But to be fair, I do agree with the fact that he's got better. And I think with Dara's a weird one.
He's just. I said it in my thing, mate. I think he'll be mint in the Championship. I really do. I think he'll be quality in the Championship. But he's like, for me, he's a bit like a Brownhill, where he's not quite Premier League, and I think Championship's probably his level. But the difference between the two is that O'Shea's younger and probably can develop to become that. And there's some players in there who just clearly aren't. But at the minute, he's not, and he's not the only one. But I genuinely think he'll be mint next season. I really do.
I think it's such a, because if somebody comes to me and says they think Dara is a good player, I kind of see what they mean. But if someone comes at me and says I think he's a bad player, again I see what they mean. He is good and bad at the same time because he makes these silly mistakes at least once a game. Like I said it in my fan reaction, but I worded it wrongly. Like he did make a mistake against Wolves. He gave the ball away, but it went unpunished because Wolves didn't capitalise on it. So people forget about it. And then obviously he makes a mistake again against Everton. And we have got screenshots of the mistakes. And don't worry, I'm not just bullying Dara here. I have got one of Kompany's mistake as well. But what I'm trying to say about Dara is he's good for 89 minutes of a football match if he stays on the pitch for that long. He's good for 89 minutes of the football match. But then in that 1 minute, he makes a silly mistake and it just lets him down. And I know I've said it a few times on here and I'm repeating myself. But I just don't get it. Like, I'll just quickly get rid of this comment so I can quickly put the screenshot up. But this is the point.
That's just experience, mate. That's all that is. He's not a calm head. He's in a league that's probably overwhelming for a centre half playing in Burnley, and I think he just panics and just gets that rush of blood to his head, and just that's where it comes from. I think so. Yeah, he might be good for 50 minutes, but then the panic sets in, and that's him. That's what it is. It's just experience.
You're probably right. It probably is. And like you said, he does have time to develop. And I agree. I do think he'll be good in the Championship next season. But obviously, we bought him for the Premier League. And at the end of the day, because of these mistakes, he's not been good enough. Look at the screenshot on your screen now is the moment he receives the ball. Obviously, the player that's probably, 5, 6, 7 yards in front of him is McNeil. But there's a lot of space there between the two.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to panic. He doesn't need to make a silly touch, but obviously he does. And he makes a silly touch, and then obviously the ball gets away from him, and that's the challenge. Yeah. Now, I didn't have any issues with the red card, and I don't still have any issues with the red card, and nobody at the time had any issues with the red card. But there's been some chat today, mainly because of Ref Watch, I think it is, saying some people are now thinking, I don't think that was a red because it's not a denial of a clear goal-scoring opportunity. Now, what I think has happened here is that it has been put down by the officials as a red for denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. But if you can see from that there, I apologise, it's obviously not the clearest screenshot. I can't show videos on here. The leg is high. He's gone in over the ankle because he's lost the ball. I don't have any issues with that red whatsoever, personally.
No, neither do I. I think it's the right decision. It was just that red mist took over, didn't it? He just panicked, didn't know what to do. I mean, his touch to control the ball was absolutely shocking, to be fair. Like you say, he's under no pressure. I mean, if he was panicking, he could have just passed it back, I guess. But
I mean, yeah, Reese's comment is on screen now, but you can, when I quickly get rid of it, you can see here at the bottom.
Yeah,
Charlie Taylor's on.
Yeah, calling for it
so
as well.
He could have just pinged it back over. He's just taken a touch. He's messed up with the touch. Like I said, he has a weekly mistake.
What he did there was it was the same as the Gerrard slip. You know the Gerrard slip when he cost him. It was the same as that. He miscontrolled the ball, and then instead of slipping, he just went to bring the guy down. It was exactly.
I think it's just complacency. I think that because for a large chunk of that game, we just had so much of the ball that once you have 5, 10, whatever minutes of having possession of the ball in quite an easy fashion, you just get complacent and think that you're basically being gifted that much time in the ball. And that's just a situation where he's just been caught out. That's the way that I see it. And it's just complacency. It's just when you're not, completely at this level that you get these mind slips. And that's happened with us time after time this season. So that's just how I read it. That before then, we had 15 minutes into the game or into the half, it's just got complacent. And the thing is as well, that's Dwight McNeil of all people with that much pace. Okay, he's not that fast. So he's got a lot of time and he's just sadly got too comfortable, unfortunately. And I do agree as well, out of all the red cards we've seen in Premier League, if that happened the other way around, we'd be absolutely screaming for a red. So I have no complaints.
Yeah, for me, I just think people saw it and forged their own opinion of it and thought, yeah, that's fair enough. That's a red. As I did, it looked a red in real time from where I was sat. I didn't have any issues with it. There was a guy in front of me saying, I don't think he was the last man. And then I remember thinking it did look like a bit of a lunge, to be fair, but you'd need to see a replay to confirm whether or not it was a lunge. But I feel like people saw that, forged their own opinion, and then somebody else has come out now and said, well, I don't think that was a red. So all of a sudden everyone's saying, well, I don't think it was a red. I think let's go with the fact it probably is a red, lads, and we'll just quickly put the screenshot back on there. Come on. I know football isn't played in still images, and if I could show the video, I would do. But it's a red, and as Liam said, it's complacency. I think for me, what he's doing is he's taking his eye off the ball because he knows that he has to play a pass. So he's looking for the pass. He's received the ball, then he's thinking, where am I going next with this? And then he's taken his eye off the ball a little bit, and he's just completely missed it pretty much. And then lunged in on Dwight because he knows that. And even there, to be fair, like if Dwight is making it, all right, you probably would have cover from Steve. But he's practically is the last man as well there. But yeah, I don't have any issues with the red, to be fair.
But again, that's the experience, isn't it? I mean, surely I know you just took it off, but you could see there that surely he's had enough. If he's got the experience of there, surely he's got the knowledge to have a quick look around before he gets the ball and see that there's no other option but to ping it back. Yeah. So it's just lack of experience for me.
Yep, I agree. Twin Cities Claret says, I've put these on screen, but for those on the podcast, Twin Cities Claret says, if I'd gone the other way, we'd be screaming for a red. That's on O'Shea, not the ref. Danny Aston says, I don't think he's panicked. It's just a lapse in concentration. Ginger Ali says, 7 red cards. That is down to bad management. I blame Kompany. Raj says, Dara panics too much. He did the same for West Brom time and time again. Stuart Rhodes says, red card, just very clumsy from O'Shea. And now on your screen, Danny Aston says, yeah, he's thinking about the pass for taking the touch for granted. Which bit that's, Liam? You say you don't agree?
I don't agree with the fact that it's on Kompany for all the red cards. I don't agree with that. But the vast majority are for stupid reasons. Chelsea was absolutely idiotic. Palace, I mean, I guess pass after the back, I guess you may say that's on Kompany, but it's not for rash decision making. It's just for Brownhill basically being put in an awful situation, basically by Trafford. Yeah. I mean, red card. Well, I guess on this situation, you may say it's Kompany's fault for trying to pass out and play possessive football, but that's not on Kompany for that mistake. I mean, what else?
No, that goes back to what I was saying about Muric, mate. Like, surely as a professional footballer, your instinct, you don't need to be told literally everything you do on a pitch. Surely there's a little bit about you where you think, I probably should do that, or I should probably kick the ball there, or I probably shouldn't lunge in there. Surely they've got enough freedom to just be able to make those decisions. They can't all be Kompany's that strict that they have to do exactly what he said in every situation. Surely they've got enough about them to think I can't lunge in there. So that's on the players. That's on the players.
I'm looking at Berg's red card against Villa. That was like the 2 yellows. I think that was also incredibly weak. Brentford away, I forgot what that red card was even for, actually, on Conor Roberts, actually. But
I forgot I was there as well.
I forgot what that red card was even for, but let's just ignore that one. I forgot. And then Forest away, early on the Foster in the 94th minute. I forgot what I was even for. Foster against Forest in Premier League.
Nope, forgotten on that one as well.
That is violent conduct.
I think that one was fair. Oh yeah, he punched somebody in stomach. No, he elbowed somebody in chest, didn't he? Again, that's not Kompany's fault. That's just
I think that was fair.
Who was that one? Sorry?
Against Forest.
Yeah.
He did. He went like that, didn't he? Yeah,
I think the ones where you could make an argument for Kompany, it being Kompany's fault, are the ones where we're messing around with it, passing it out of the back. But again, I wouldn't put the blame solely on Kompany myself. I'd just say, stop being. If you just the players are not doing it well enough, like Dara's lapse in concentration there, Trafford's poor pass. You could make an argument it's because of the style of play. But I agree with you too. I don't necessarily agree with it. So that was one mistake at the weekend. And just before I do that, actually, where's that comment gone about Glenn Little on Radio Lancashire? Obviously, I didn't see this, but Craig Lancaster says, Glenn Little on Radio Lancashire said, too many players have let the side down this season. We should never have signed Trafford. His point on Trafford was like a kid in goal and very fragile. I do agree with that. There's been too many occasions where we just haven't been good enough, or as Glenn Little put it in this comment, players have let the side down. Like, yes, they have let the side down in a way, but I feel harsh saying it like that because, yes, Dara O'Shea might have got sent off at the weekend, but I wouldn't say... I mean, he has. By definition, I guess he has let the side down, but I just think it's a case of him not being good enough more than anything else. And that's why he's made that mistake, which which I guess is probably worse. But yeah, that wasn't the only mistake this week. Probably the biggest mistake of the season, to be fair. Let's be fair on Muric here in Trafford. Is this one?
That mistake from Muric, as much as I'm a Muric fanboy, that was worse than anything Trafford's done, to be fair.
Yeah,
it really
was.
Now,
this is from the highlights, and the highlights don't show him receiving the ball. And from this moment here, there is 5 seconds until he kicks it. So he's got around 8 seconds at a guess. I'd say there might be 2, there might be 3 seconds. But from the point he receives the ball, look at where Everton's forwards are. You've got this one on the bottom screen here, at the bottom of, well, not the bottom, so like the furthest forward here, furthest closer to the bottom of your screen is what I'm trying to say, but I'm wording it horrifically. He's not even looking. Then you've got Calvert-Lewin in the middle, and I have no idea who this is on the right. But look at that. They're miles away. They are so far away. They're 10 yards away from him. And Everton's social media team, and I took exception to this, and I did get a bit of stick off some Everton fans, they labelled it as a trap. There is no trap there. I'm sorry. There is no trap there. They are miles away. They're waiting for half-time. Just go long, Muric, mate. Just go long. Like, what? Why is he taking so long? It's 15 seconds to half-time.
I don't even think that Calvert-Lewin closed him down anticipating anything. I think he just did it as like a token, I'll just close you down sort of thing like they do. I don't think for 1 minute he actually thought he was going to get a goal there.
Completely agree.
It was just, that's on Muric. And as I say, I personally think that's worse than anything Trafford's done. On the interest of fairness.
I mean, I've also spoke about my love for the Muric fan club, and we're all still probably of the opinion that Muric is the better goalkeeper than Trafford. But again, if Trafford made that mistake, he'll be getting absolute pelters. We'll never hear the end of it. So that is completely fair. And I just don't know how he's been caught in that situation. If that screenshot I'm looking at right now, how that ended up with the goal that happened, I have no idea. Again, it's at this stage of the screenshot, 20 seconds until half time. It's so obscene. But that's the thing with Muric. We knew this back last season, and I said this as well, that Muric is a bit psychotic, which is kind of what you need for a goalkeeper. You need to be a bit mental, and he is mental. In the first minute of the game, he's already on a drag back on a attacking player and a Trevella pass. He's doing things that we typically love him for being at a halfway line randomly. He's got a screw loose, and sometimes he crosses a line of brilliance or stupidity, and that's what we got. And unfortunately, it happened in the biggest game of the season. I guess to say one good thing about Muric that game, I mean, especially in the first half, I felt like it was really good distribution-wise, other than that one stupid error. And he did make a pretty good save near post to Calvert-Lewin in the second half as well, that typically probably would go in. So I guess that's my own defense on him. But, I mean, that moment there is in itself indefensible.
Yeah, I think it's the worst mistake anyone's made all season, if I'm honest. But I guess you've both just answered my next question there, actually. And before I do, just a quick shout-out to Austin, Harry and Louis Townley, who are all watching along with their dad, Simon, now. It's good to have you guys here. Theo Robinson says, God's sake, I'm late. I guess I will have to watch on catch up. And Claret Al says, it's like he doesn't see him. I seem to remember him doing similar last season. I mean, I agree with what Neil and Liam have said there about him, though. You need this level of psychoticness, but sometimes it can end up coming into these silly mistakes. But yeah, just going back to the point I just made, I think you both answered the question already, but I'll start with you, Neil. Does he stay in as number one now, Muric? It'd be silly to change him, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Why wait 28 games to realise your first choice keeper's not good enough to then change it back? No, Muric will be our keeper now till the end of the season. And, let's be honest, we've looked better with him in the team. I know he's made a horrendous mistake there, and that is on him, but we have looked better with him in the machine. I think everybody's commented on how much better the distribution's been and how much more comfortable the team looked.
He's also made some fantastic saves too. He
has made some good saves as well
against Brentford in that first half, and from the one-on-one, incredible save as well.
Yeah,
so he steps in it too.
I do think he stays in the team.
Yeah, and also Chelsea away as well. We can't forget that the 10 out of 10 performance.
Yeah, the first ever Sofa scored 10 out of 10. The first ever Sofa scored 10 out of 10. That might not be factually true, but it's the first one I've ever seen.
I know a few people. A few people I've spoken to about it are all sort of like have been on the fence about the Trafford and Muric situation, but they've said like they've started to think what the season might have looked like had Muric been playing all season. Would we sort of be the Forest bit where we're sort of teetering, but we're not, like we could still get out of it? And I think if we had Muric in from the start, we probably would have.
We'd have more points. 100%. We'd have more points. I think I went a bit too far earlier in the not this show, a few podcasts ago when I said we'd have about 10 more. We'd probably have about 5 or 6 more. But then obviously this is the other side of Muric. Like he has let us down against Everton from that mistake. Liam's gone as far as saying we'd be clear of the relegation zone. A quick shout out to the Robinson as well. I do apologise. He's not called Theo. I do sometimes because it comes up. I'll just put it on screen now. Sometimes when I see that live and I quickly glance over it, I think it says Theo, but it's not. It says the Robinson. I apologise, mate. But yeah, lads, I'll come to you first, Liam. Are we dead then now? Is that the final nail in our coffin?
If I say season starts now, would Neil kick me in the face?
Neil,
come on. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I mean, look, right. What was it I saw from Opta the other day? I think it's 98.9% likely of getting relegated. I'm
surprised it's so low.
If we somehow stay up after this, then I don't even know what. I'm getting 3 tattoos and they're all having Muric's face in it somehow. I don't know. I can't see it. And the worst part is if we beat Brighton, then I'm going to be back on board again. I'm going to be like, yeah, you know what? We could go to United away and get 3 points. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at table now where we're only 6 points behind. We beat Brighton. I don't know. I'm not. Should I do it to myself again? I don't know.
No, it's the hope that kills you, mate. So
look, it's sad because we don't deserve to be given a second chance or a third chance. We've been given 5 chances with all the point deductions by Forest and Everton as well, that we do not deserve to even be given a slight hope of staying up. And we finally had this opportunity that we've earned by beating Brentford, getting a good point away at Chelsea and even West Ham. You've got to beat Wolves at home and Everton away, which are games that if you want to be in the Premier League, you've got to beat these teams. And we simply failed. And one thing that I do want to question, why in the most important games of the season are we experimenting with Foster as a right winger?
Mate, I will get onto that.
Why?
I can answer that in 3 words.
The one thing I can think of is that he works really hard and he tracks back. Then I get that from a defensive point of view, but doesn't Vitinho do that too? And he's more of a natural. And we've also seen Vitinho and Nassignon, especially against Brentford, have really good chemistry. So I just don't get it. It's like, okay, Fofana's back from his suspension is he can't play against Chelsea. We want to try and play these 2 strikers, so just force them in there somehow. And also at the same time, have our best actual winger and take it on players in Odobert, play him as number 10 when he can't do any of that. Which I don't mind Odobert as number 10 somewhat because I think he's good there too, but nowhere near as good as out wide. I don't get it. Like, it's the most important games and we're just experimenting for seemingly no reason.
I mean, I do want to come on to that and I'll give my thoughts on that in a bit and ask Neil's. But obviously the league table's on screen there, and the first question I did ask was, are we dead? Somebody put on the thing earlier, we need to win minimum 5 games. Obviously, we need to get 7 points more than Luton and more than Forest between now and the end of the season. And that's not going to happen. So obviously that's minimum 2 wins and a draw. That's if Forest and Luton lose every single game between now and the end of the season.
That's the thing. So, that's what I was going to say there, mate. People keep saying, oh, we just need to win this many games. Well, that's assuming that everyone around us doesn't also win, which Luton are capable of beating anybody. They've already proven that. So, yeah, it's out of our hands. Definitely out of our hands.
For me, it's just have some momentum into next season and end off with a high. Yeah, have a winner. I'm hoping against Forest to be already down by then. But hey, we could have some good feelings towards the next season and, hopefully have a good year next year. And I'm really looking forward to for that reason alone. Again, hopefully we'll see many derby days next year. If it involves bastards, and so be it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think we're done. I think like, there's a comment here from Johan the Great. It says, if we beat Brighton, we will stay up. If we lose, we're out. Now, even if we beat Brighton, mate, I'm sorry. Like, I can't. Even if we beat Brighton, I'll probably be annoyed at the fact that we've thrown this chance away with that performance against Everton. I just think the fact that Luton won and the fact that Forest won in midweek against Fulham, and obviously Everton beat us. All right, they've lost 2 of them points now, but still, we needed the points ourselves rather than just them losing the points. I just can't see how we get out of it, even with a win. And it's a shame, but as Sam said in his fan reaction, if you are missing Sam due to his trip to Norway, he has done a fan reaction, so you can go and see that on the channel after this video, obviously, if you want to see a Sam rant. But he was quite calm about it, as Neil said. But we've been given these chances with the points deductions. Like the way to summarise Burnley's season and how terrible it's been for me would be to just say, Everton have had 8 points deducted off them this year. 8. We are 8 points behind them still. That's mad. That just shows how bad we've been. But yeah,
that leads on to a point I was going to make, mate, that even if we do stay up, we genuinely don't deserve to stay up. We're not good enough for this league. The fact that 2 teams around us have had points taken off them and we're still below them shows that we're just not good enough for this league. So somehow, if we do stay up, which we won't, because I've accepted relegation for about 4 months now. We don't deserve to be up, and it'll just be ridiculous. And I'd actually be like furious if I was a fan of the teams who went down instead of us, because we're just not good enough.
My only kind of annoyance, I guess, from the kind of reaction to the Everton game is that I don't actually think we played disastrously bad until that goal went in, really, and then the red card. Like, again, people going at the players saying that they show no fight, no character. I saw a tweet by, I think it was an older Burnley fan, saying that this is worse than the Div 4 days and that we have no fight. And it's like, I didn't make up the Chelsea game last week, did I? Did I make that up? Like, we're showing fight, and I actually don't think that bad in first half.
They've got fight. They've got fight, but it's that we've said it. That phrase,
it's the lack of quality.
It's the soft underbelly they've got. So
it's inexperience. It's inexperience, right? It's just a young
head
team.
drop very quickly. And yeah, and
until we have 10 men away at Chelsea or 10 men away at Villa, then we actually show some fight. We actually play better somehow and show more fight with 10 men.
Yeah, I did say that when O'Shea got sent off on Saturday. I did say, we're better with 10 men against Chelsea, so who knows? But in that second half, we haven't offered nothing. But as the comment on screen says there, whose name I'm not going to try and pronounce, we just beat ourselves. We are shoot ourselves in the foot, FC. And that's what I said in the fan reaction. We beat ourselves so many times this year.
I'm trying to think. I could probably think of 15 reasons, 15 like goals we've conceded on top of my head in critical moments that we've actually just completely messed up and just like gave a goal away for no reason. Like so many I could just think of. I mean, Palace was one of the worst examples. Both those goals, Palace and West Ham at home, back to back. Honest to God, I've never been so sad in my entire life because they didn't even have most of their team even there. Most of their best players were all injured. And they didn't even want to play football. They literally just said, can go in deep block, try to break us down. And that's all they did. And that's what Everton did. And that's the only way to beat Burnley. Wait. Yeah. Go in a bit of a defensive formation. Give us all the ball that we want. You ain't going to break us down with it. And we'll wait for you to make a mistake at the back. And we'll just be clinical like every single... Because like we did this at times in the early days in the Championship last year against, the Hulls and the Huddersfield. And Hull, they made it count. I remember when they scored to make it 1-1, I think it was 1-0 actually. They went 1-0 up, early on in the year. And like, we could do that in Championship because teams typically aren't that clinical to make it pay. In this, it's like every single time. It's so annoying, but we deserve it. We deserve it because we can't break teams down if they just say, try to just come at us. We have no answer for it. And that's a real shame after 32 games.
Yep, I agree with everything there. I just want to quickly give a shout out to all the YouTube channel members. The names are rolling at the bottom of your screen now. And I have added the brand new member, Liam Beach. You will see his name coming across the screen in a minute. We do appreciate everybody that joins the channel. You do receive benefits such as Burnley crests that you can put in the chat next to your name as well. And early release of shows and new stuff coming for next season as well, to be fair. I'll be honest with you, I haven't thought of what it is yet, though. But there will be new stuff for next season. But we do appreciate all of you for doing that. Now, Liam and Neil have briefly mentioned it, but I do want to focus on it so we can chat about it more and people in the chat can can give their opinion on it. I think I said it in my match reaction that at the time it was April the 6th. Obviously, it's April the 8th now. It's a couple of days later. I still don't think Vincent Kompany knows his best team. And that's why he's still experimenting with it. Like, his hand was kind of forced against Chelsea, as Liam said earlier, with the fact that Assignon red card. So he had to put Vitinho right back, and then there probably weren't anybody to play right mid, which is ridiculous considering we signed 43 wingers in the summer and we already had about 15. But why Foster on the wing? Like I said, it was forced in midweek. Fair enough. He had to do it because of Assignon's red. It didn't work then. Look at that. As a manager, think to yourself, that didn't work. Foster was ineffective out wide. And Fofana had a bad game up front on his own. So maybe them two don't like playing in them positions or that system. So let's try something different. But he didn't. He thought, might have been a one-off that. I'll try it again. And shock horror, Foster's ineffective and Fofana had a bad game up front on his own again. And I don't know. I just feel the decision to do these weird tweaks is another one that goes kind of against Kompany. I'm still Kompany, and I'm not going to get into that debate again, but Liam has made a list of Kompany mistakes, so we'll get into that in a minute. But this team selection again and Foster on the wing, I just don't understand it. What's your thoughts on it, Neil?
I'm into... I'll say it. I'm Kompany out. I've been... For
we know you are, mate.
Yeah. Still 19th. We're still shit. Kompany out. So you can at me if you want. I'm not on Twitter. Do what you want. I'm in two minds. Part of me thinks it's him sort of like just trying stuff because he's seen it work and thinks, oh, that'll work. And the other part is he's sort of getting desperate and he's just thinking, oh, F it, or try it. You know, it's like trying anything now. It's not worked so far. Let's just try this. And if it works, it works. So part of me thinks it's just him desperate now. Just try something else. It's not worked for... How many have we played? 30?
But we have started to get better, though, haven't we? We have started to
get
better. Then not a lot better, but then he still manages to tweak it. Like, all right, it was forced against Wolves. Change it back to Chelsea.
That's where I'm in the... That's why I'm struggling to decide, because that for me is just him being shit. Part of me thinks it's him experimenting out of desperation, and part of me thinks it's just him just showing his inexperience and just that he's not ready for this level yet as a manager.
I agree with that bit. I don't think he's ready yet. And I would stick by him for the fact that he would hopefully have learned from this season. And he's already shown he can do it next year in the Championship. So just going off to Neil's point, and we'll get back to Neil's point again when he comes back. But for me, Liam, I just feel like Kompany's obviously the in my opinion, the right man to do it again in the Championship. If we get down that road and we're 10, 15 games in and we haven't, got this monkey off our back and we're still losing games week in, week out in the Championship, which I don't think we will, then it might be the right time to have that conversation. But I think he will be better for this experience in the Premier League.
I mean, I get why completely why people would want Kompany out in terms of it's not been good enough this season. And you're correct.
Yeah.
It's been completely disappointing. We had not just Burnley fans, a lot of neutral fans predicting us to be 14th and 13th and 11th and 9th, right? No one thought Burnley would go down. Maybe it's because the Kompany and we were playing nice football last season, so people just went with the hype. I get that, but it's been really disappointing, right? I get why people are critical of him. But I simply am in the fact that, look, if we go down, what's the point of trying to change it for the Championship when we all know that he's the best man to get it back up again? And the only kind of answer that I think people have is that, oh, well, we'll be back in the situation again if we are back in Premier League, that with a manager that still isn't ready for the level. So the only question is, who would you bring in? I'm seeing in chat Steve Cooper. I'm seeing in chat Potter somehow. I just don't see the reason of sacking him, really. And of course, we all know he won't. He won't be sacked. So there's no point. It's kind of a non-starting conversation. I get why people would want him because it's been an awful year. And he has made many ridiculous just calls at times that I don't get. I mean, it's been clear and obvious that he still doesn't know his best team. Hence why he keeps tweaking it and making just little decisions and trying to fit players, and it's square pegs and round holes many times. Foster being a striker for his entire career, now acting like a right winger when we have 5 wingers also available, is a strange decision to make.
It's baffling.
It really is. So, and then Oda Burt, that's played his entire career as a left winger, now playing as number 10, is again just a strange decision to make. And then Vitinho, who is a backup right back in the Championship, is now, after signing 10 wingers, now our best winger for the Premier League. Work that one out. I don't know how that's worked out. So, yeah, it's you are correct in my opinion that he still doesn't know his best team, which that is just strange in itself. And it's a real shame because we had so much hope into the season. It's such a shame that it's happening this way. Again, the other day, it was on this day last year that Connor Roberts scored the winner against Middlesbrough, and all the hype and all the expectation, all the hope and love that we had for this team. And it's a shame that it's kind of gone in this way, but I still believe because football and fans were all a bit, we're easily pleased at times. We win three of our first 5 games next year. We're in top 6 by September, October, and everyone will be loving the team again, and everyone will be loving Kompany again. And to be fair, he should, because if we have this team and if we let some players go, we should be walking the Championship, because we can sell 2-3 players, sell Trezor, or if he's even here or not, I don't even know what his clause is, because I think he's dead. He's not even been on the pitch since Luton at home. I don't know what's happening with him. But if you say, well, Amdouni or Odobert or Berg, we can make 20 or 30 mil maybe. And that is like extortionate levels of wealth for the Championship. We spent 50, 20 mil on some players. We already have some players, the young players that's already pretty good. We should be stomping the league next year. And there's no question in my mind that we shouldn't be. And if we are doing quite poor in the October, then that's when the topic of Kompany moving on should be brought up. And that's where I stand with it.
Yeah, I think I agree pretty much entirely with you there, Liam. Neil, you had to quickly dart off there when we were talking about Foster on the wing. Understandable, but I do want to get your thoughts on it. Why do you think Kompany chose Foster on the wing? Why do you think he's messing about with these sort of things in such big games?
Like I said, I think he's just trying to make it work, because I sort of get the Foster thing. I think because Foster's sort of like strong and he's got a bit of pace about him. I think he was probably going for that, and maybe just to catch the opposition off. I don't know, because Everton have beaten us. Is it twice? They beat us in the cup and
well, 3 times now. Yeah, it was twice before that.
Yeah, so I'm talking like as if the match hasn't happened. And then, so I think he's thinking, right, well, they've got the measure of us here, so I'll try this to completely throw them off, because Everton and Daesh, we know what they're going to play. So I think part of his thinking there might be this will catch him out, and it just hasn't worked. It just hasn't worked, I think. But I sort of get it with Foster, but it's baffling. It's just yet another baffling thing of why you would take our probably best finisher away from putting him in.
Yeah, exactly. It's just bizarre.
It's baffling.
Comment on screen from Ryan Merton says, nobody is saying Vitinho is bad. He's fine, but context of all season, £130 million spent, needed 2 goals on Saturday. First sub made. Vitinho, £1 million right back, 30 games, 0 goals, 0 assists. It's not a dig at Vitinho, but it sums it up. And that brings into question now, I'll start with you, Liam, some of Kompany's substitutes and his tactical tweaks. Again, is he just showing a bit of lack of experience there by not getting them right and getting them wrong most of the time?
Well, it goes into what you said earlier of he doesn't know his best team. And he hasn't since day one, unfortunately. And he's been experimenting of what he thinks suits the team that he has. And I think we realized from our recruitment that we didn't get the players that we wanted or the players that we needed for this level. We didn't get a left back for one. Like, if you go back into the first games of the season, we played every single player in our entire team possible at left back other than our only left back. We started the year, first game of the year, as Vitinho as a left back, or I think left wing back against Man City. Then next game was Delcroix against Aston Villa. And then it was Connor Roberts against Spurs. He was a left back. After all those failed miserably, we then thought, let's play Connor Roberts, our left back, as a left back. So we went through 3 other players before we actually thought, okay, let's just end up with Taylor here. Yeah. Surprisingly, he's our best left back. So that felt like a situation that Kompany was just kind of thrown into, because he basically wanted to play an expansive style, inverted fullback, similar to last season, which wasn't possible because with Burnley in the Premier League against really good teams. It's not going to work. And the thing that's just baffling for me, Benson and Zaroury, we signed them onto brand new deals on the same week on the first game of the season. It was early August. I think 6th of August, 8th of August, literally a couple of days before first game of the year, right? So Rory was given a 5-year deal. Benson, 4-year deal. And they've had, I got the number here, 91 minutes Benson's been given the entire season, and Zaroury was 149. I don't get why would you give these players a brand new deal.
I've been thinking about this, mate. It's good that you brought it up because I've been thinking about this. I think the intention behind that was that they would go out on loan, they would tear the championship up as they did for us, sort of. Zaroury, maybe not so much as Benson, and then that way, if someone wanted to buy him, the value is higher because of the 5-year contract. That's the only
recently signed. So, like, I mean, realistically, what would they be? What would their deal initially be? Probably be 4-year deal at that age, surely. So, well, like a 2-year compared to a 3, 4. I get the idea. I get it, but I just think that if you have no intention of them playing,
it could have been something in there. It could have been something, a promotion clause that if they go up, we get a new contract. It could be anything, couldn't it? It could have, or so many appearances and we go up. It could be anything like that. But,
even still, the idea, I think it was what Kompany said about a month ago of the fact people are bringing up Benson, and he said that, you know, players have been given opportunities and they've not taken them. And when you look at the minutes that Benson has got, Zaroury's got, many players have got, you know, that caused a bit of uproar with many of the fans because it's a lot of bollocks, really. You know, I'm not having the idea that Benson is too weak for the Premier League, but we're playing Aaron Ramsey as a winger instead, or we're playing Vitinho instead.
And we played Trafford for so long, who clearly is too weak for the Premier League.
Exactly. Like, if you don't think he's good enough, sure, but each time I see him for only the 5 minutes he's ever on, he always has one really good left-footed inverted cross in the box. We saw that almost won us a game against Wolves that Jay Wood almost got his head onto. That's a really good trait that you have and a really good piece of skill that you could have for the Premier League to open up a team, which we don't have, and no one else has that ability, but he has. Yeah. I just don't get it. And I mean, Trez is a weird one. Again, he must have a clause that we have to buy him if he makes 15 appearances because he's on 14. He's been on that since start of Jan.
Yeah, it's pretty clear.
And he's been fit the entire time. So that must be the only reason because it makes no sense.
Yeah,
George, just to go back to a comment you put on from Chase Dream about Foster hopeless outright v Wolves, how's it catching Everton? What I meant by that was that Dyche and Everton would have been preparing for him to be up front. So by not playing him up front, it catches them out a little bit, and that's what I meant by that. Just thought I'd clear it up. Yeah,
no, fair enough. Before we carry on, I just want to bring you all some exciting news from Uphold, Burnley's sleeve sponsor of the 23-24 season and a supporter of Turfcast podcast. Uphold have now launched a limited edition Burnley Uphold card, giving fans a chance to show their support home and away. The card is free and comes with a host of benefits, including the ability to spend in any currency anywhere in the world where MasterCard is accepted with no foreign transaction fees, competitive exchange rates, and easy integration with Google or Apple Pay. Get your card today at www.uphold.com/BurnleyFC. But that's not all. When fans use their card for the first time, Uphold will donate £5 to Burnley in the community, supporting the Burnley family on and off the pitch. Numbers are limited. So again, visit www.uphold.com/BurnleyFC and get your card today. Terms and conditions apply. I want to get into your list of Kompany mistakes, Liam, next, if that's all right. And you said before we're on air, you've been sort of like looking at things that you don't understand that he's done over the course of the season, mistakes. I know you've probably referenced a couple already, like the Charlie Taylor at left back just refusing to play him there. You probably would have Trafford in there, staying in there up until recently. But what are the other ones that you've got, mate?
Well, I've said a few of them. Of course, the left back one I think was the best example of him having an idea of how to play this season and then being forced into having to deal with what he's got. And I think playing Taylor is exactly not what he wanted to play this season, but he's been forced to because that's the only option that he has. We wanted, as we saw in the first few games of the year, to play this really expansive, high press football that we basically believe we're much better technically than what we actually are. And then we get caught out game to game, as we did against Villa or Spurs, and then we fall apart. And that was a perfect example I could think of is his idea of how he wanted to play and then what we ended up with. And then that is the same issue with our recruitment, that we signed basically all these young players with some ability, but they're not got any experience, they've not got any real physicality. And the only player that we've signed that is actually looking like they actually belong at this level is surprisingly the only player with some actual experience, which is Berg, right? And I guess of the new players, I really like Odobert. I think he'd be a great player. I just don't know why he's playing as a number 10 right now. I just find that a bit odd. I think Aaron Ramsey's a weird one because the way that he's been kind of utilized this year, I think also just kind of indicates Kompany just being a bit odd with his players. He played as a number 10. First game he got started against United. By far his best performance. Next game got thrown out as a left winger against Newcastle and had an utterly diabolical performance. Then wasn't played for 4 more months, and I think he was fit for pretty much at least 2 months of that. And then he gets started randomly again as a right winger for each game until he got injured away at Liverpool. And again, it just shows me exactly, like, I don't know what his vision of Aaron Ramsey is, because he's been played everywhere and then doesn't get played for months and just gets thrown in again randomly. It's just another idea of the fact that Kompany just kind of didn't know his own team and was just trying to experiment with what he has. And Aaron Ramsey again is another example of that for me. And then Trafford is, of course, the most obvious one. Yeah, you know. But I mean, we didn't even see Muric at all in the Prem. Wasn't given a chance for whatever reason. And now suddenly he's now our main key starter, conveniently after hitting 75 appearances this season for Trafford. It's a really big convenience. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but that's the only thing I can think of that makes any sense of why now. I mean, what is the biggest clanger that Kompany has made for subs this year? I mean, I think one of the most insulting was away at Palace, which was when he subbed on Benson with like 3 minutes left when we're already 3-0 down, when we were chasing for a goal for the entire game. I mean, and I think the worst one in terms of how it affected the game was by far West Ham at home, which he insisted on when we were playing pretty good and full control of the game to sub off basically everyone and then play Cullen in there to defend set pieces and corners and crosses in the box and then play Brown as a right mid. Again, I don't get the idea. I think I saw times that Brano plays a left back as well this season, just randomly thrown as a left back when we're chasing the game, while simultaneously not subbing on our best attacking players, all these wingers to change the game. Yeah, it's just, I just don't get it. And there's probably so many more. I can see in the chat, the fact he wears a suit jacket with a baseball cap and a t-shirt. I mean, I'm not a fashionista by any means, so I'm not going to comment on that. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on his suit with a cap.
I mean, I don't mind it. He
likes
a cap. He's obviously his head's going to get cold, isn't it? So he likes a cap.
I think also
I think he looks stapper.
Oh, love to hear that. Again, like the midfield though, like it was Cullen and Berg until Cullen got injured, so Brown was thrown in, and then turns out that was actually okay for a little bit. Then it stuck with that until it didn't work for about 3 months, until Brano got red carded. Then Cullen starts, and suddenly we look good again. And then it's like these decisions seem to be just thrown on him, and not decisions that he's made himself, and like key decisions. So I don't know. It's a weird one. Because Cullen is meant to be the main key heartbeat of a Vincent Kompany team. So they kind of removed that. This seemed a bit odd to me. Of course, I don't think Cullen had particularly the best of games against Wolves and Everton. I will highlight that. I don't think he was particularly amazing. But Berg, I think, has looked fantastic for each game he's played this year. Fair play to him for that. And I really hope that if and when we go down, that we can keep him for next year, because I think it'd be absolutely incredible. But I still think I'd love to see him as a number 10. I want to see him as a number 10. I think he'd be really good in that role. But we'll see for next year.
Yeah, I'd like to see him there, but I do think he's grown into the role that he's been given now. But I agree. I'd like to see him there. Neil, you have been vocal at Kompany out. So is there any mistakes that you'd like to highlight or reasons why you are?
I think Liam got it all there. But I mean, I said to you ages ago when I first decided he had to go, is that the list of reasons for him to go is far, far longer than the reasons to keep him. And the fact that we can create a list like that, should you be able to do that about your manager? I don't know. Surely you should have a lot more positives than that. But look, I'll say this. I said it in my fan reaction. If he is the manager, I'll back him. Right? I'm not like if he's a manager, I'll back him. Fair enough, but I'm not going to shed a tear if he gets sacked.
You do agree that he's our best manager to get us back up again next year, though?
Well, it looks like he is going to be our manager. I can't see them pulling the trigger. I really can't. So on that basis, he gets the first 10 games. Less if it's really poor. If it's so
is it a manager
bad,
that you would want instead?
it's too difficult because after the summer, there's going to be so many manager move rounds. You don't know who's going to be available. We've got to see. It looks like we're sticking with Kompany, don't we? So we've got to back him. As much as I want him out, I'll back the manager, and we'll see how we are in the first 10 games. But as I say, if it's really poor, then he doesn't even get 10 games. He gets like 5 if it's so bad. But we'll see. So yeah, I am Kompany out, and there is a massive long list of reasons for him to go. But back him while he's here.
I just don't agree with Ryan in the chat saying that this is one of the worst teams in the history of the Premier League. I still think that it's harsh. I still think it is to say it's the worst teams ever.
We're not even the worst team in this season's Premier League. And it might only be by 4 points or whatever it is now. But I might end up looking like an idiot if Sheffield United beat us in a couple of weeks. Which now they've got what's he called, Berriton, Diaz, and McBurney up front. I think that actually will cause a few problems. I think they've got better as well recently. But I do think we are better than Sheffield United. I don't think we're one of the worst. I think you could probably name 15 to 20 teams over the course of the last 30 years that have been worse than us.
Like we are a young, inexperienced, raw team, which is a collection of players that didn't really know each other because we basically tore apart a team that was so good last season.
Yeah,
and that's
a lot
on
of mistakes,
and that's on the board for ripping that team apart for seemingly no reason. And that's fair on them to give them critique for that. But I just think
that's one of my biggest worries.
The level of the Premier League is so high. I just can't say it's the worst in Premier League history because, like, Bournemouth have like a team with like 300 million worth of players, and they're seen as a really bad team. And like Forest have spent 250 million in like 2 seasons, and they're being fined because of it. And like they're seen as a really bad team as well. They're 17th, and like so the idea of we spent 100 million quid and we're this bad, yes, it's really bad for Burnley. But in comparison to Premier League, we're still so far behind everyone else. And that's why I'm concerned of the gap between the Premier League and the Championship. And I feel like Leicester and Leeds, that whoever goes up this year, I have no faith in them staying up. Because if they try to play this nice, really fancy football, which Farke does, and what Enzo does at Leicester...
Yeah, Farke never seems to work in Prem, does it?
They won't last. And it's just going to get worse and worse. And again, teams before in the past have stayed up. And that's why I was so hopeful. I do get that counterpoint, but I just think it's getting worse and worse each year.
Yeah, the gap between them is, I mean, the Premier League's got massive issues that I think it needs to deal with anyway in terms of football. I think football needs a full restructure, but that's a completely different kettle of fish. But the main issue with Kompany next year is that because of his very quick dismantling of that squad that got us up, and because he's sort of seemingly got no loyalty to players that have got him in the Premier League in the first place, I worry about whether that'll put players off from coming next year. Because we heard last year a lot of them were saying Vincent Kompany was on the phone, of course I'm coming, or I came because of Vincent Kompany. I'm wondering now whether that's tarnished a little bit because they'll think, all right, so I'll graft all season and they'll just bin us off. And they might see a more exciting project somewhere else, just for the reason that they might I might get them into the Premier League and then they might actually play me in the Premier League. Whereas I'll play for him and he'll just bin us off. That's my worry next year with trying to attract talent over someone else, is that they might just look at what's happened and just think, nah. Has Zaruri been chatting to the lads at Hull and stuff and saying, oh, yeah, he's binned us off, got him up last year, but you know what I mean? That's my worry. Yeah,
I think I said that a couple of months ago, actually, with if we do go down, who would be still here? Because the kind of new boys that's kind of been a bit disrespected, or new boys that has not done that well this year, like a Zaruri, like a Amdouni or Trezor, they may want to go, or Trafford. And the boys that got us up, that's been dealt with harshly, like Zaruri, Benson, may also want to go. And then the old lads, basically all of them, other than Brown, who has a new year he could add onto his deal, all of them are going as a contract. Like all of them. Johan, Corky, Chazza, who else is also out as well? Out of that group, J-Rod, like all the old guard are all gone. Over there,
I think J-Rod's going to retire me. I think J-Rod will retire me. Personally.
How is he now? 35 or 34?
Yeah, I think he's 35, isn't he?
I mean, out of the old guard, who would you give a new deal to? Because I've been seeing a lot of people say that they want Brownhill to go. Personally, I think that's obscene. Because
I think Brownhill will be let go because he'll be a big wage. Because it's up to us now, isn't it? On Brownhill, we have a choice of an extension, and I don't think we'll choose.
For me, he's a guarantee player that would be top level of the Championship.
I agree, but I think as a club, I think we'll just get him off the wage bill.
What's the point in that though? In that we know it's top level Championship, but we know he's not good enough at this level. So for me, there's no point keeping him. He's been in the Premier League twice with us now, and he's not. It's Championship's his level.
If he's a decent backup for Premier League, though, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like if we get a centre mid that can be ahead of him, and he could be like a second choice behind him, then I'm okay with that. I just think if we already have a player that just wasn't Team of the Year last year, I just think it's a shame to let him go. Well, if it's his wages, that's a big issue. Then I get that.
If we can keep Sander and Cullen, then I think it'd be a good idea to get rid of Brownhill. Because I think Sander and Cullen would play. I think they're the better two midfielders. Even though Brownhill shown he is good enough for the Championship and will be one of the, as you said, top end players in the Championship, because he was last year. I know people like to give Brownhill shit. I've never really subscribed to it. I quite like him, but I don't think he's good enough for the Prem in terms of quality. But I do think he isn't as good as Sander and Cullen. And I think the club will make the choice to hopefully keep Sander if he doesn't want to leave, and keep Cullen. I presume he'd stay because he's played under Kompany before and been with us in the Championship. And I think because of that, I think out of them three, Brownhill's probably on the most. So I think the club will just think, get that player off the wage bill, bring in some fresh young talent. That's just a guess.
I mean, that's fair for that reason. A lot of chat saying keep Taylor.
Yeah, keep Taylor. I don't think
we will, because it's been clear that Taylor was never.
I don't think we will, but I would like to keep him. I think a Premier League club will come in for him. I think he's good enough to stay in the Prem in a different system.
Taylor,
our system to be fair. I think he's shown in our system. He's good enough to be fair.
Leeds, if they come up.
Yeah, Leeds is a very good shout, actually. I would think in Everton.
If Junior Firpo's there, I doubt it. Because they really like him there, Junior Firpo.
I think Taylor would go back to Leeds, is why I would said, good shout. I think if somebody said to Taylor, do you want to go back to Leeds? I think he'd jump at the chance.
They'll take it, but they just played completely different style of football. It depends how Farke adapts, but it's Farke in Premier League if they're there. So
I mean, this is a dream comment. Let Brownhill go and replace with O'Hare on a free. I mean, I know he's out of contract in the summer, and I would rip your hand off for that. But I don't think we would do that. I think that's too fantasist. What I'm trying to say.
Yeah, O'Hare won't be on a free. I don't think. Surely, would he? Would he be?
But his contract's running out.
Contract's out. Yeah.
Oh, damn, really?
But I don't understand why Coventry haven't renewed it. Maybe they've offered him one and he doesn't want it. But again, I think a Premier League club are coming for him.
How old is he?
I don't think he's shown enough though, because he's been so injury prone.
I think that's the problem with him. The only reason why we might get him is
I would like
of
that.
injuries.
I would like that.
I think, does it not depend on his age? It might just be a nominal compensation fee if it's a
potentially. He's still quite young, isn't he?
Young,
I think he's like 23. I don't think he's too young.
I know. I don't know what the cut-off is. There's a cut-off for transfers. There's a cut-off for transfers where you have to give the club a nominal fee if it's a free. I can't remember.
According to some people in the chat, Reece James and Chris P, he doesn't want to sign a new deal at Coventry. See what I did there? Rammed it.
Nice.
Which Coventry have a team on the up, so I'm not sure why he doesn't want to stay there, but I'd happily take him at Burnley just to piss off the Coventry fans again, just to create this all new random rivalry again, which did incredibly piss me off last year, to be fair, and would piss me off again next year. But it would be
quite
funny.
Enjoyable. I guess I'm already getting a bit excited now thinking about our team for next year, because I don't think because I think he's been injured. So Colly Oshaw probably will stay. I think he'd be really good in Championship. Aaron Ramsey. I think he's number 10 because he's also injured for, I think, till
he's
November,
out until like December though, isn't he?
Yeah, so like he'd be still here, and I think he'd be actually quite good as a number 10. And
fingers crossed he comes back from the injury, obviously.
Odegaard should go. Amdouni should go. I think Foster will stay. If Cullen stays and if Berg stays, well, Cullen will stay. But if Berg stays, I think we've got a really good team. And as you said earlier, I think the likes of O'Shea be really good in the Championship, and Bayer in there. I think Esteve will stay as well.
Bayer
I'm
hopefully
excited. We're pissing again. Up the Clarets. Let's go.
I'm looking forward to your HMS Pisser League edits again next year, mate. But just to bring you all back down a peg or two, we have to talk about this season again. And I appreciate we've gone on a little bit longer than usual, so this will be my last question. Obviously, there's a big gap at centre-back at the minute now. Darver O'Shea missing for 3 matches. Who comes in? Neil, I'll start with you because Liam's got a gob full of summit, so I'll start with you, Liam.
I've been waiting
Neil,
for him.
sorry,
I've been waiting
I'll
for him
start
to take a sip of that for ages. You've been waving the bottle around. I thought he's going to take a sip in a second. He hasn't. I don't know. Kompany might do a madness and put Foster at centre half. Who knows? He could do anything. Where's Bayer? Is Bayer injured? Is he like dead?
He's still injured, and from what the last I heard was it's a weird injury, and I don't know what that means. That's all I got told. It was a weird injury, and one that
that's only a sample.
Yeah,
penis injury.
Potentially, he could have a scrotum injury, something like that. But apparently, it's weird, and they're not sure on what it is. But even if he was fit, he's not played a game since October. I wouldn't want to throw him back in.
No.
Wouldn't want to throw him back in.
So that leaves you with
to come back in. I like Jordan, and I know he watches the shows. I don't know if he still does, but I know he used to. I'm not just saying that because of that, and I know I get this.
Well, if he is Jordan, could you DM
the Instagram page, mate?
Could you let us know either way? Is it a penis injury? Just because we're
or a scrotum injury?
Yeah, just let us know.
Yeah, I don't want to be like making some rumors that people may believe is actually true. I don't actually know for certain it's a penis. But he said weird injury, so maybe
just a yes or no. Just a yes or no, Jordan. No context. Just say yes or no. That's all we need. I don't know who's fit defender wise. I mean, could he do something? If he's our only option, it's going to be Delquar, isn't it? But he could do something radical. I said radical then because I read Delquar. He might do something mad and put Jack Court there. You just don't know.
Well, he played Jack Court there against Salford in the
Salford,
cup.
Yeah.
Didn't Sander? I mean, I haven't seen this confirmed, but it looked from where I was sat that Sanderberg played the latter stage of the game against Everton at centre half.
He kind of went in there in the first half too. That he was like a free back in possession, and then he was like on the right side
sometimes. Yeah, but I think after the sending off, he actually moved there. But again, I was a couple of pounds deep, and the view weren't great, so I've not seen that.
Probably did in 10 men. Probably did.
Yeah. But it's looking like Delquar.
Yeah, it's looking like Delquar.
Ekdal's a good shout.
Oh, God, Ekdal's here. Oh,
I forgot about Ekdal, you know.
Yeah, but is he fit? We don't know where he is.
What is wrong with everybody? Can nobody be arsed? Is that all it is?
It could be that. It could be that.
Probably
I mean, he was on the bench for Everton, and I think every other game.
Ekdal might be a shout then. Problem with Ekdal
he was on the bench actually for Everton. He was. He was.
He was on the bench. He was on the bench, was he?
It was for Wolves, but not for Everton.
So it'll be Ekdal. He might have been saving him. It'll be Ekdal. Well, he won't be saving him because he won't know. He won't. That's a stupid comment. I think it'll be Ekdal. If Ekdal's fit, it's Ekdal, isn't it?
I would like to. I would rather Ekdal over Delquar personally, but Ekdal's pace worries me.
The other option is that he puts Taylor at centre half because he's done that before. But I think it just depends who's fit.
And then left back. I mean, Christ, that'd be a mix up, that wouldn't it?
Probably Vitinho.
Just recall on
Assignon right. He's going to do something totally random. Assignon right back, Ekdal and Esteve at centre back, Vitinho left back, and everyone will just be like, "What?" He'll do something mad like that.
Oh yeah, by the way, I think people have said online your thoughts on Fofana. People are saying that he's not been on it at all and that they've been kind of disappointed in him. Just like, do you have any concerns about him or not? Because I don't think he was disastrously bad. I just think that.
I think he's had a poor last couple of games, if I'm honest with you. I think he personifies the squad. He's young, he's raw, he's got bags of talent, but the experience isn't there, and he will get better. I just think at the minute he's okay. He's shown in glimpses he's good, but like I said, he's got bags of talent, just not the experience, and I think that's why he's had a bad couple of games. So yeah.
I guess if people start saying, should we focus on the players that'll be here next year and start playing Foster instead with him on the bench? Because if he won't be here next year, then people have been asking that kind of question.
Yeah, I'd 100% do that now. We've got to focus on next season. We're down. Stick Foster up front. Stop pissing about with him on the right wing. If anything, I'd like to put Foster and Fofana up front together. And I've said this on a few fan reactions and a few podcasts and a few pre-game shows. Just basically every time I'm on.
Got a few, yeah.
Stick them both up front. With Foster as a deep lying centre forward, Fofana further forward. Why is Foster out on right wing? And I put a tweet up about, not to go back, but I put a tweet up about that saying I don't understand why he's right wing. And the first comment back was, well, who else are we expected to play on right wing? I don't know. One of the 55 wingers we signed in the summer is, Trezor's not worked out, fair enough, but he would be better than somebody who isn't meant to play there. People can sit there and say Benson isn't good enough and not strong enough. He would still be better. Then you've got JBL and JBG. Maybe just a winger would work. But just going back to your earlier point, I would probably play him. And maybe if that doesn't work, just sack him off at rest of season. Say, thanks, Chelsea, we've enjoyed it. It's not worked out. He's going to go back to you. If there was a chance to sign him for the Championship at a low price and he didn't want a big wage, I'd take it. I think he'd do well in the Championship, but I think he's quite highly thought of at Chelsea, and I think they'll want to keep him for another year. Maybe give him another loan to a top league.
I don't know. Chelsea's got FFP breathing down the neck. I don't know. They might have to flog him.
Potentially, I wouldn't spend a lot on him, but I'd have him.
Yeah.
I don't want to ask another question if we've already been a bit overboard now, to be fair.
Well, the JBL thing, just a quick yes or no then, boys. Chris P says, would you make JBL a permanent for 2 million? Yes.
2 million, yeah.
Yes.
I feel quite bad for him because I feel like because he's not as exciting in theory compared to other players that people kind of overlook him. He's kind of similar to Johan in that sense that he's just like people look forward to Koleos and other bit because they got that kind of raw acceleration to take on a man. But I find that he's just a lot more. His decision making is better in my opinion in terms of most other players that we have. Like comparing Vitinho to Lawson, I prefer Lawson a lot more for me.
Fair enough. David Gill says yes, but change the dream. Change the answer. He says JBL, no, he can't beat a man and he's poor. I think I'd keep him. I think we'll start wrapping it up there, boys. We have got to 1 minute, 1 hour 20. Apologies if you're, we're waiting to get off. But it's always a good chat. And we always like to use this as therapy after a defeat. And we don't always like to have them on Monday nights, but sometimes we have to. So bear with us with that. I think the next one, I don't know when the next one will be, actually. I'll speak to the lads in the WhatsApp chat. It might have to be a Sunday morning one. We'll see, because I'm working later on Sunday and might be a Sunday evening one, actually. But again, just if you're not subscribed on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. And every time we go live, you'll be notified. But lads, will start wrapping it up there unless there's anything that you two want to add.
Good luck to anyone seeing the Sheffield United game because that'd be an unbelievable game of Premier League football.
Yeah,
I have no respect there.
I'm away that weekend and I'm seeing it. At first, I was annoyed. I was like, we have to go away that weekend. Could it not be, during the week? We could take time off work. But I'm actually happy now. We're down. They're down. It's going to be bad. They'll probably be playing for more pride than us because they'll think, we need to finish it up Burnley or get revenge. But yeah, I'll be away. So I am now happy about that. But yeah, I'll wrap it up there then. So if you have joined the stream later in the stream, don't worry. As soon as I press end stream, you can watch it back on demand on YouTube. It stays on there as a standalone video. And if you come late and you're thinking, I don't really have time to watch it now, it's 9 o'clock, I need to get ready for bed. Fair enough. It will be out as a podcast as well. So you can listen to it on your morning commutes, or whatever it is you're doing. Sam E says, all the best, fellas. Love yous. I'm pretty certain that's our Sam,
We know who that is. I'm
pretty certain that's Emerson, all the way from Norway. So big shout out to him. Hope you're enjoying time out there, mate, you and your missus. Looks good, to be fair. Just weather looks a bit shit, I will be honest. But it does look like a nice place. But yeah, if you want to listen to the podcast, just go on. I'm just laughing at Sam's next comment. He says, lots of love from Norway. But yeah, Sam likes to do this when he's on stream. He books in when I'm doing the end of it. And now even when he's not on stream, he's managing to do it anyway. But I won't look at it. If you want to listen to the podcast, it will be on the podcast feeds pretty much straight away. It'll be there within about the next half an hour. And you can listen to it on your morning commute or at any point during the week. We will be back with the Brighton pre-game show. Hopefully Wednesday, probably Thursday. I haven't had a Brighton fan confirmed yet. And Brighton is the only club that I failed to get a fan on for earlier in the season. So fingers crossed I managed to get one. If not, I'll just get one of the boys to step in and we can do a fan reaction chatting to a Burnley fan. But thanks, Liam, for coming on. Thanks, Neil, for coming on. Thank you to everybody for commenting. Thank you to everybody for your members. If you are a YouTube member, a big shout out to Liam Beach for joining earlier in the show. If you do want to join, there's a little button underneath this video that says join. If that button's not there, there is a link in the description. And a massive thank you to our favourite Sam Emerson, for coming on the stream all the way from Norway. But thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. And I'll see you next time.